Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Matt, Senior Client Success Manager for White House Custom Color, and before we start chatting with Erika and Leah, we just have a few announcements for you. So if you haven't subscribed to our WHCC YouTube, make sure and do that so you get notified of cool events like this coming up that you're not going to want to miss. Follow along on Instagram at WHCC Pro, and for all your product details and options, check out WHCC.com. One more quick thing, if you do have questions for these two, the dynamic duo here today, make sure and put them into the chat and we will have them answer them live. If you're watching this on the rewind, put them in the comment section and we know how to find them. We'll get the answers to your questions along the way. So welcome.
Thank you.
It's so fun to have you guys here now after all the formal announcements here. Like picking you up at the hotel this morning, it's like, whoa, they're here.
We're here. We're so excited to be here.
We've had so many awesome conversations via Zoom, all of us, you know, over the years. And just a quick announcement too, instead of a 45-minute YouTube live today, we're actually going to extend this to like 6 hours. You know, because we have so much to talk about.
So much to talk about.
And that would just be like scraping the very surface. So to begin with, for everybody that's watching along today that doesn't know who you two are, Erika, will you just kind of introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I founded the Pod Photography in 2008, and we have grown and grown and grown, and today we're really known for our highly styled sets. Yeah. So we create really amazing little baby sets that are true to life. We build movie-inspired scenes, hobby-inspired scenes, little man caves. So that is what we've really become known for, that we have.
The Oval Office.
The Oval Office, yes. I have recreated the Oval Office.
Yes.
So that's what we do, is create really custom, amazing sets and beautiful portraits for families.
Yeah. And you definitely sell yourself very, very short on that because the stylized sets and your creativity that goes into that is just one smidgen of the pie that is the pod, at least in my opinion. You know, the client experience, your welcoming and bubbly personalities, the amazing imagery, the sales piece of it, the products, all the things go into the pod. So don't forget all that.
Absolutely. I mean, that is, the experience is what we are ultimately selling. I mean, the photos are beautiful, but if you don't have an amazing experience to share with the client or give to the client, then fall short.
Yeah, exactly. So Leah, who the heck are you?
Well, I found Erika in 2012 after being in LA for 1 year, moving from Michigan, and I just fell in love. I fell in love walking into the office, like the fact that something like this existed and was possible. And in 2012, it was the beginning. It was nothing like what we do today. It was a piece of that. It was the experience. It was the customer journey. But over the years, we've grown so much. We've elevated a lot of the customer experience, our style, what we put together. So it's been a really incredible 12 years.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So from 2008 to now, 16 years, the world has changed a lot. Styles have changed a lot, technology, products, all that kind of stuff. So if you go like really back to the original concept, Erika, and I've always congratulated you, and we've had you on webinars before, you know, talking about how you're really able to be a CEO. You know, you're able to run the business and not get buried into the trenches of it. But at the beginning, I'm guessing that Erika probably lived in the trenches for a while.
A very long time.
So tell us about like the original vision for the pod, and did you have this big goal, or was it like, we're just going to try to survive, baby, you know, until this takes off?
You know, I think we've always we had a slogan. We started the slogan. It was hip, candid, and colorful style.
fun.
Hip, candid, and colorful style with
At an
a
affordable
personalized
cost.
experience. We started as being really affordable. I thought that was something I valued. I
Yep.
wanted us to be an affordable studio and give people really great quality photos at an affordable price, which I still very much believe in value. But we came to realize that we were actually doing a disservice to clients by being quote unquote affordable and like giving them their digital files, for example. So a big shift we went through, I forget what year it was, but at least 10 years ago, we really like got clear that we wanted to do in-person sales and really offer products so that our clients could see their products on their walls, touch the products, where before we were really like, oh, we're just gonna be, hand out digital files and it'll be great. So that has been the biggest shift for us.
Okay. And that was in roughly what year?
2014 maybe?
2014.
Okay, so you've
Yeah.
had a decade of your current business model.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And just so everybody following along too, like if you check these guys out online, and once you listen to the live today, you're going to understand like how powerful this team is. But you and I walked through the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas in 2018 after WPPI, and we had gone out for dinner, and your staff was all in front of you, and you can chime in on this too. And you said to me, you're like, I'm having a hard time because the business has grown so much. I have a full staff of how I can still be what I need to be to the business and be its CEO and be able to not be involved in every single piece. And that night I said, well, I think I can help with that. So I think we should start doing some calls, every couple weeks and talking about this. And then, we all went home, and then you ignored me for a while.
Yeah.
And I kept
I'm very
checking.
busy.
Yep, I kept checking in, email, text. How's it going? Great. Just crickets. On the other end. And then this one day, I get an email from you, and all it says is, "I am clearly needing to do this because I'm avoiding it."
Yeah.
And that was really a beginning of a journey, for White House and for me with your business and you guys, and like. Go back to that and talk a little bit about that, Erika.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to be stuck in the weeds and stuck in the day-to-day, and something I really focus on is, yes, being creative is part of our business, but like you say, like being a CEO, being the boss, and running a big vision, and we plan out, the year in advance, and we plan out, okay, we know we're gonna be slow in the summer, so what are we gonna do in the summer? And we really run the pod like a business with creativity as part of it. But I remember you were like, let's do some coaching. And I was like, oh, coaching sounds great, but like, I don't have time. But like, if you don't have time to create your vision and plan out the business, like you're just in survival mode, and you're just kind of grasping at whatever and in reaction mode versus planning and creating.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I want to make sure that everybody listening along heard what you just said. Ooh. You are running a business, and then the creativity is just a piece of that. Where I think in the photography community, it's a lot of times the opposite of that. Where you have somebody who is very, very, very talented at what they do in their craft, but when it comes time to actually have the business side of it, it's just, you're just jumping off a cliff.
Yeah.
And it is reaction survival mode, which that's not fun.
No.
Yeah. So, all right. So with you prepping and working towards a lot of goals, which you've talked about for several years, and we've talked about, one of them has recently become a reality for you, and you have started a whole new venture.
I have.
And Leah has become a lot of what you did. So Leah.
Yes.
And they haven't seen these questions. With the prep that Erika has done and her coaching to you and our work together and all that stuff, what has that meant to your leadership within the business that she prepped the business for? Like, how did it feel to step into an environment that was a well-oiled machine?
Took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it, being together for so long and watching how, like, she's a businesswoman and she's so good at making things happen. Where I would say, like, I'm more like what you described. I'm like a very creative person, where the business side has been harder for me, but that's where we balance each other, one, and where she's taught me so much. So yeah, it was like stepping into a well-oiled machine.
But how does your fingerprint look on the pod now? Because you have done a lot of things. You know, you have been in your current role since January 1, right? January 2, we'll call
January
it.
2.
Because New Year's Day, you get to relax a little bit. You know, social media, marketing, style, staff, all the things. Like, I want to talk about your fingerprints on the business. Just don't worry about her right now.
I think what I've kind of brought in since January 2 is, like, I kind of took over the Instagram, for example, and like, I like things really pretty. And so like, that's where the creative side of me is like, oh, let's do it like this. Let's change the look of our grid so people can engage with what we're posting more. So like little things like that, or I've tweaked little things on the website. So I think like the creative aspect, I've been able to bring a lot. I've designed some beautiful things to send out to clients, client appreciation cards, thank you cards, referral cards, birthday cards. So these really pretty, colorful pieces to like, to give
that
out.
high touch with people.
Exactly. What else?
Well, I think you've been great in like the place of like play. Because we do have a successful business and we do have a, as you call it, well-oiled machine. But Leah's been like, okay, so it's already working. So how can we just like play with new ideas? And Leah has been great with, you know, how do we go back to, instead of finding more clients outside of our network, let's go to the people who we know we love. Like, here's this amazing client. How do we get more of this amazing client? So Leah has been creating things like direct mail pieces and referral cards and things like that to get, you know, hey, we like you, client. Get us more of your friends.
Who do you know?
Versus, you know, more attention on Google Ads or things like that.
A lot
so
of
more
times-
high touch and personal is what Leah's bringing to it.
And I'm glad you said that, Erika, because I think there is a strong push within the community, you know, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram, you know, all that kind of stuff, and paying for that. But is that really getting you the client you want? You know, because you guys aren't doing passport photos. You know, you want to make sure that your pin.
Luxury
is that the
passport
side of the
Depends
business?
on how much you want to pay.
It just, you need to speak to the client that you want, and if you're not speaking to that client, you're wasting energy that you could be putting into a lot of other places.
Definitely.
So let's talk about the big things that have happened this year so far. You guys have had some press. You've had a bunch of publishing done in some pretty major venues. So who wants to talk about that, or both of you?
So a couple months ago, the Wall Street Journal reached out and said, hey, we want to do a piece on you. And
how in the world did the Wall Street Journal find you?
You know, it's one of those you just don't ask questions. Like, I was like, I don't know, but I'm not going to jinx it. And it turned out to be amazing because it was picked up by the London Times. It was picked up by
a Japanese
reality show. It was the...
There's like a list.
Now I'm blanking on the other company who came out.
Maverick Films.
We're talking with this is very hush-hush, but we might be doing a reality show. We're in the talks with producers. Inside Edition came out and did a piece on us, and it was really funny because what they fixated on, like we were like, ooh, they love our custom sets, this is gonna be so fun, but the tagline was, look at how expensive this, like look how much money people spend on these baby photos. And it actually was entertaining to us that was the thing that they picked up on. They called us the $10,000 baby photographer.
I read that headline.
And we were like, okay, sure. And then I ended up doing the Tamron Hall show, another live show. So it has been a really great year for press for us and for kind of boosting the business. But I just want to kind of like point out, that kind of stuff we got one client from. So I know that it's like an aspiration for a lot of people to be like seen publicly and things like that, and it is great.
It's exciting.
It is exciting, but like that's not where you get your clients. And like we have TikToks that have over 1 million views. Like maybe we get people from there, but
Yeah.
it's really like the personal relationships, personal referrals,
Yeah.
like that's where we get our clients from.
Yeah, and I can see that type of fame being a substantial distraction, too. You know, and could be good, could be bad. Teaches you. Lee and I had this conversation, you know, about all the things that are going on and making sure that you do stay on your path and it doesn't pull you off because you know your path, you know your client. Or you want to know more of them, I should say. You know, so that can be a distraction. But I mean, congratulations. That's,
Yeah, it was
that's
fun.
fantastic.
It's certainly fun.
And if you're on a reality show, you know we're flying out because we'll make a cameo on there.
Yes.
Just walk through the
The
background or something.
demanding lab, constant checkup on the photography
Right, yeah,
studio.
exactly. I
could
can
tell
be
us we
the
needed
mean
some
guy.
drama.
Yeah,
We do need drama.
Yes.
for sure.
Drama.
So along those lines, I'm not dramatic. I heard that of the $10,000 baby photographer.
Yeah.
That number comes from somewhere. That's not just from your session. So that is a product base that number has been created from. So I know when we were talking about scripting for this today, your main thing was I want people to understand the importance of in-person sales and having product up. And we did the redesign. I think we're going to show some videos here that are just clips from your redesign. But let's talk about your sales space and how that's built. So one or both of you, go for it.
Well, Leah has taken on sales appointments, so why don't you share about it?
So we see all of our clients in person in the studio about a week or two after their photo shoot.
Okay.
And at their photo shoot, we actually show them all of the samples. We show them the pieces that are on the wall. We show them the albums.
And there's a picture up right now. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep, that's a sales room right
So
there.
that's the sales room. So they get to
And just to point
see-
out that grouping on the right, we had a little bicker session.
But it's up.
It's up and it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But it's great, clients get to see their images on a big screen. So it's so much different than just like emailing a gallery and looking through your phone and, zooming into your pictures on your phone. Like you're seeing them life size, real size of what they could look like on your walls.
Yes.
So it's helped us tremendously, not just with sales, but also there's so much satisfaction in seeing images in print.
Right.
And like seeing an album
Right.
made.
Which we're going to talk about in a minute. Yes, exactly.
And like we get so excited if something, we ship a lot of things right to the client, but when something comes into the studio, we're like, oh my gosh, let's look, let's see. Like it's so beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and for people that aren't doing that, to take it from a screen to a product, it's just a completely different relationship with that image
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but so with your sales then, just refresh my memory, has that been since 2014 you were doing in person?
Let's see, since 2014. I think that sounds about right.
Roughly?
Yeah.
Okay.
we kind of did it before then, but it was like,
Yeah.
come in and look at them and we're like, here's a disc.
And we also restructured because one of the things that Leah and I are really passionate about product. And we have actually been coaching jointly another photographer who's trying to get to in-person sales. And one of the things that we really shifted in 2014 was we had a digital heavy package with like a little bit of add-ons of like, oh, maybe there's a canvas included. Where now our collections, which are our packages of like the bundled products, are really product heavy. Like you have an album or wall art included and then digital files. So I think that's a shift that I think is really important for someone who's actually trying to make more and sell more physical product. Is like this one photographer has 30 images in her base package included, digital files, and like that's enough for most people. So they'll like, oh, I'll just buy it and I'll just do my own albums. And that's the other reason why I believe in in-person sales is now as a mom myself, I know like there is no time. The fantasy that I'm gonna buy my digital files and create an album in my free time is just, it's not reality.
Right.
And to me, a lot of photographers say to me like, I don't wanna like bother people and make them come for an in-person sales. But it's actually to me the opposite because we get it done in an hour, hour and a half, and and your artwork is designed, your album is designed, we're taking on all the, back design work and things. And like in an hour, you're done versus sending someone some digital gallery with watermarks and then they're having to pick on their own at, 10 o'clock at night after they put the kids down. And like, I see it as a disservice to my clients not to hold their hand through the whole process.
Right. Well, and if you are doing that, the gallery based and expecting people to do that, that's not an experience-based business.
Yeah.
That just doesn't fit into the mold that you guys are creating here or have created. So I know, Leah, you have some history with doing online sales as well, where you would lead the client through the sales process, but you would do it via Zoom.
Yes.
So how does that differ? Because that's a good topic. There's a lot of people that are doing that. COVID in 2020 really normalized that.
Yeah.
I think in 2019, maybe if you'd have tried that, people would have been like, oh, I don't know. Like, what's Zoom? I've never heard of it before. But in 2020, it's like, okay, this has become a part of our life now. So like, tell us a little bit about how that comparison works.
Yeah. It's cool because we do that for people who have moved away from Los Angeles and fly in. And then I did that with personal clients when I moved away for 4 years. So I got really comfortable with doing Zoom ordering sessions. And I used the pod approach really, which was I would take albums to the session. Since they didn't have a studio they could come to with me and we'd be out on location, I would take albums, I would take artwork and show them. I would still make wall samples with the White House app and give them ideas and start planting those seeds from the beginning, from the consultation even.
For sure.
So you're talking about their goals from the minute they book the session. So then you're actually shooting for that. If we know someone wants an album, we know we're gonna get amazing detail shots. We're gonna get interactive, candid shots. And it's just a different approach to the session itself. So Zoom has been, it was definitely not as amazing as in person, but definitely a great runner-up, and I was able to make great sales and still serve clients doing things over Zoom.
So it sounds like where you're showing people the product and doing that, you just move that timeline up a bit to where people were seeing it before the session or during the session. And then the Zoom meeting just became like a vehicle of just...
It's like verifying.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good word. That was good. I couldn't
To be clear, you were using the White House app. That's how we run our in-person sales. Is using the app, pre-designing their frame groupings, and then we pre-design albums as well for them. So they walk in, and there's a pre-designed album. There's pre-designed multiple, small, medium, and large frame groupings
on their wall.
Because we have them send their walls in advance.
That's awesome.
So it's hard not to find love when we present it so
That's
gorgeously.
Good. Well, and then it doesn't become a do you want this, it's which one or which grouping do you gravitate towards or does this fit into the budget, all the things. I mean, you guys know. So in our day and age now, experience-based businesses are just skyrocketing. The product is uniquely tied to the experience that comes with it. I also think that experience as a word gets a little bit overused now, because everything is an experience. But when you truly have a business like yours that is focused on that from the minute they reach out, that separates. So let's start with you, Erika. With the goal of being experience-based since the inception of the pod, even though that it changed along the way, like how are you creating that extra where people are like, I can't help but want to refer you because it was so amazing?
Well, we have this written down as like the protocol and touch points, because again, we run this as a business, because we need to make sure we are hitting our own milestones with a client. So it starts with a sales call. So Leah takes all of our calls And so someone says like, hi, I want a photo shoot. The first question is like, hi, I want a photo shoot. How much is it? And then Leah's job is, and she's excellent at kind of redirecting and saying like, oh, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. So first step is obviously creating a personal connection with that client. And we literally have like, make a personal connection, like written down. Like, oh, you have a dog? I have a dog. Oh, I'm from there too. So making a personal connection from the beginning. And then...
You have a dog? I have a dog.
Yeah. Like,
Small world.
So, I mean, that's the start, is they're buying us. They're buying the experience. Like, again, our work is beautiful, but so are 10,000 other people in our city. So creating personal experience, and then also we do in-person planning appointments as often as we can, or sometimes we do them over the phone. But that's the second touch point, is like, you don't know what to wear? Okay, we're gonna coach you on what to wear.
Yeah.
And Leah will often, or I will often, the photographer will, like go online and send links like, oh, you said you wanted a blue denim dress? Okay, here's 5 blue denim dresses that are going to look great for your body and photograph well. So it's just taking that extra step to actually help people, because everyone calls and says, I want pretty photos, but I don't know what to do, I don't know what to wear. So coaching them, and then day of the photo shoot, it's just, we try to have fun.
Yeah.
We have music playing, we're silly, we like
We
each
are
other.
silly.
Like, just to like have fun. Because the same thing, we've often like laughed a little bit when we know a client has had a great experience, but we're like, oh, their photos are just okay. But then they had such a great experience that when they're looking at their photos, they love them even more because they had a great experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We had someone come in recently and their kids cried the whole session. And I mean, we got it what we could get, but she saw the photos, she cried during the slideshow, and she was like, this is the most incredible experience I've ever had with a photographer. And we're like, really? But it's because we take care of people. Like, we really do fall in love with our clients. Like, we just take care of them.
Yeah, and I think that that's a perfect lead-in. So, Leah, when we were talking, you said, and I'm going to put this in quotes, it's the importance of the moment. And I think that is very deep. Like you can really look at that set of words and be like, oh, that really is important, because you may not think that you did, a 10 out of 10 bang up job on that, but the importance of that moment to that client, they will never forget that. So like, how do you, like looking at that experience now, like how does that make you think differently? Like, oh my gosh, like we're too hard on ourselves, like we could do better. Like what does that make you feel as a photographer and person in charge?
I mean, I don't know if we're hard on, we might be hard on ourselves like creatively, where we can always elevate. But I know that we deliver 100% to the client every time. We never cut corners. We're there, and yes, it might have been a more difficult, child who's upset or just having a day, and that happens in our industry for sure.
I never have those days.
Sometimes it's us that are crying, but we always know how special it is, especially with newborn 1 year. We do a lot of the big milestones. And, I've heard people who will get on a call and just be like, all right, cool, so you have a baby, like, let's just talk. It's really important. These people are bringing we had a 4-day-old baby on Monday, 4 days old.
Wow.
Like, most of their families haven't met that baby yet. Like, we're the first people, some of the first people in this child's life. We get to hold them and pose them and like create these stories.
And photos that are like their memories.
Yeah.
Like these photos will be in their lives forever.
Forever, yeah.
And they're gonna have their own stories when they're grown up, and it's really, really cool. And I don't know, we get to be here to capture that.
That's awesome.
It's
you
special.
You said that perfectly. So Erika, let's go back to like the business side just a little bit. We'll pull back from the emotion a little bit. We'll go
before I start crying.
So as the business owner, and the person who worked on the sets at all hours of the night, working, you know, one-on-one with clients, getting their vision, and you created some amazing sets. And for everybody that's following along, if you haven't checked out the stuff that these two do, like you built like Starbucks.
Yes, down to every single little teeny tiny detail.
Right. And you obsess about the details, which is awesome. But in that tug of war in the brain of that very right side, and then also the business side, how do you manage that? Because that's taking off and landing a lot. Like, and I can see you're thinking about the answer, because it is hard. You know, and I have a lot of respect for you, and we have a lot of respect for you because you can do it, and you did do it for so long. But like, in your words, how do you manage that in your own head?
It is challenging to keep the creative, and like, it is also hard to go from a ultra creative photo shoot and then like, all right, in 20 minutes you have a sales appointment, and to put on that new hat, and then it's, you know, make the marketing plan. So to me, what works for me is compartmentalizing the day. So we do photo shoots at 9:30 and 11:45. Like, we have mornings are for photo shoots, afternoons are for sales appointments. So to me, like, turning my brain into all those different places. But like, the truth is, like, I do a lot of my creative work at night just because it's like I'm alone. Because you know, the phone is ringing, the people are here, like, there are always things pulling your attention. So one thing we have talked about, which, you know, other people could possibly do, or maybe us, is like, Mondays are, you know, back burner creativity production days. So to me, creating separate times for things, because otherwise you're just pulled every second.
Right, yeah.
It's reactionary.
And it's hard to stay focused when you're pulled in so many different directions. Yeah, for sure. So hard to believe, but it's been 2 years ago since we were out to visit you in Culver City and did the redesign makeover, and we had a great time. It was so fun to be there, and the studio looked beautiful, and I'm sure it still looks beautiful to this day. You haven't taken things off the wall.
I haven't.
And yeah, that's fantastic. So in your makeover, you put up a ton of cool wall groupings.
Yeah.
Redid the sales space, like all the things. Like, give us an update on that. Like, how has that impacted the business, the overall like feel of the studios in those last 2 years?
I mean, our sales have definitely gone up. Because people so it used to be, and this is where I think a lot of photographers fall short, is they buy a sample for what they can afford. And so I could afford an 11 by 14 frame print. And so we had a lot of 11 by 14s, and then we sold a lot of 11 by 14s. And now we have 30 by 40s, 40 by 60s. I mean, Leah sold a 40 by 60 the other day. And it's just, if you show big, you sell big. And we have so many different types that people just walk in, and people are, I find most people just see something on the wall and go, I like that, I'll take it as it is. Like, they may even say, I don't know if it matches my decor, but I love that right there. So I think people buy what they see, and ever since putting up lots of beautiful big pieces in the studio, people just point and say, I want that.
Well, and that's the goal. You know, and I think a lot of times, and I shouldn't say I think, I know a lot of times there's a lot of fear. You know, people are making fear-based decisions about if they're not doing in-person sales, switching to that in product-based. But honestly, what you just said is perfect, because, you know, people see what's on the wall and they're going to gravitate towards what they see. You know, they're going to connect to, I love that trio, I love that set of 4, I love the gallery coming down the wall, I love the 12-piece, like, and you're going to be able to build your sales and the products around that. So speaking of products, we're doing some cool demos and stuff for you today. But we know that albums are one of your favorite things. So
love 'em.
you guys actually watched this one being made here this morning, and Connor's going to zoom in on that for us. So this is a 12 by 12. This is a full custom photo cover, and I'll let you take that side over there, Erika. This has the rounded page corners, and this is printed on Fuji Photo Luster. And you guys saw this complete
start to finish.
Start to finish.
Yeah.
So our team here at White House had this all keyed up for you today. Had the album spreads all ready to go. Saw the block being made. Saw the cover being made. Final assembly. So now when this is in the studio and you're handing it to somebody to look at, you can be like, we actually watched this being made, and how many hands touched this.
And that is what's so cool about it, is that It's so perfect when it arrives that you almost you forget how much goes into something because it is so perfect.
Right. I just love this.
And to see the actual pages made and how it's adhered to the blocks was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And now you get to have this in your space when you get back home.
Yes.
And this afternoon we're doing a beautiful metal print and a small float frame, which the small float frames, I can't talk today, have become a big part of your sales.
So people
that's
love the float frames.
Yeah, for sure. So both of you, whoever wants to answer first, let's go with Leah first. So, like, if you were going to say, like, what is your favorite product to sell? Do you have one?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
It's albums.
Okay.
I love albums. I think it just makes sense. I love wall art for their own reasons, but albums, you can put multiple images in there. You open it up, you tell a story. I've seen my own nieces and nephews grab my sister's wedding album and they read it like a storybook, right? Then mom walked down the aisle. Like, it's so cute.
Yeah.
And I'll tell that story during sales appointments too, and people are like, oh my gosh, I love that, and then they'll buy an album. It just is a no-brainer to me, and I think our albums are priced at a really reasonable rate to, especially seeing today what went into it.
Right.
So I think they're gorgeous, and every photo shoot should have an album. Mini
100%
sessions should have an
agree
album.
with you. Erika, what about you? What's your favorite?
So albums are also my favorites for the same reasons that it's a snippet in a person's life. But to me, I really love the medals. I love the versatility of them. We sell a lot of them for bathrooms because we do bathtub photo shoots, like the cake smash and splash photo shoots. So a lot of people put them in their bathrooms. And they're just a modern, cool thing that is unique. You can't get metal prints at too many places. And so when people see them on our walls, and you guys have changed over the past couple of years, and the new metals that we have are so vibrant and beautiful,
They're beautiful.
that they are incredibly eye-catching and just sell themselves.
Yeah.
So I love the metals.
I do too.
Yeah.
But albums.
I know. And to point out just a quick thing before we move on here, a few years ago we had a call and you're like, I'm having a hard time getting past a certain average. People are doing a album or wall art, and my question back to you is, well, why aren't they doing both? And you're like, well, I don't know.
I figured it out though.
You did, and you rewrote the PDF document of how you're going to sell that day, and that changed overnight. So, that's a whole different conversation. If we actually did have 6 hours today, we could talk about, but there's a whole nother world of sales out there for people that haven't dipped their toe into in-person or product sales, or doing it on a very small level. There's always room to grow.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, and the title of our YouTube Live today, expanding the vision, expanding the original concept of the pod, where is the business going? Like, if I know you're a thinker, and you're a planner, and you actually like spreadsheets.
I love them.
Within the photography community, that's probably doesn't ping with a lot of people. What is the vision? Where's the pod going?
Well, the vision really is focusing on the experience.
Okay.
So, AI, other photographers, there's so many things, and people having phones. And I remember my grandfather said to me, "Why are you starting a photography studio? Everyone has a phone in their pocket." And it's the experience.
And he said, "Shush, Grandpa."
I did. And literally that is what we're selling, that's what we keep pushing, and that's where we have been in our marketing meeting saying, what can we do? Because the photos are great, but how can we continue to bring experience with photos attached?
And that added value.
And that added value is where I think we're going. And we're still, every month we watch our sales averages, we check our annual averages, and we are committed to growing that too.
Yeah, for sure. So I just recently shared a TED Talk with you guys that I loved. I don't know if you've watched it. I know that she has. And one thing that the presenter says in there is, his tagline is "One size fits one." And I think that like, it kind of gives me like goosebumps when I think about it, because you guys are doing that. You have been doing it. This is nothing new to you, but how do you take that when you're already at such a high level and keep expanding that? You know, that's no small feat. So we'll be anxious to check back in and see. So Leah, in your words, the vision, the expansion of the vision. Now you've had a couple minutes to think about it. Like, what are your goals? What are your fingerprints on the business look like in the future?
I mean, I think Erika really said it well with like AI coming into the picture, and it's moving really rapidly. And who knows, you might be able to say, hey, here's a picture of my baby, put it on a gray couch with a wrestling belt and ONE letters and a cake, and make this image in AI. You can probably make something like this.
With no experience attached to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it can be free. But it is focusing on the customer experience, and I think that it's also like the connection with the client, hearing their stories and actually watching that story unfold in front of them is going to be very, very, very special in a world where things are going to get less and less personal.
Yes.
So
very well said.
Yeah, it's that heart connection with people is, I think, where my touch, my personal touch here.
Absolutely, and I think you hit the nail absolutely on the head with that. So, for people who want to find you guys online, tell us what your website is, Instagram, Facebook, like that kind of stuff. Rattle those off for us, one of you.
Instagram is @thepodphotography.
Website is www.thepodphoto.com.
Then do you have a Facebook business page too?
We do. It's The Pod Photography.
Perfect. That's very original.
And TikTok. We're blowing up on TikTok.
We do blow up on TikTok.
At The Pod Photography.
Awesome. So I just have one more question for both of you before we let you go. So for everybody who's watching, who will check into your online presence, who has heard you today, what's a good piece of advice that you would give to somebody? And let's start with Erika, of somebody who is inspired. It can be from your set design, it can be from the studio, it can be product sales, business, spreadsheets if you must. What is your advice to somebody?
I think my advice is to find something unique, because you can like or dislike my photos, but you can't get them anywhere else. What we do is unique. So to me, my advice would be find something that you love, that is authentic to you, and go with that. Because if you become a commodity, if your photos look like everyone else's and your experience is like everyone else's, then people will just go for the cheapest version of you. Yeah. So to me, it's find your authentic voice.
Love it.
And create from that space.
Perfect. That was
Well
good
said.
with not having any prep before. I'm proud of you.
I gotta follow that.
Yeah, right. Leah, how about you?
Value your work. Value what you offer. There's lots of pieces of advice.
Right. That's great. We've got 5 hours.
I would say also like trusting in-person sales. Sell products. Offer products. Serve your customer. Connect with your customer. Don't have them just be, maybe that's the one piece, don't have them just be like a ticket.
Yeah.
Next in line. Here's your photo, see you later, bye. Connect with them, make it personal, make it you, have your heart on it.
That's awesome. I'm thinking of, like, after we do a YouTube Live, our awesome design team and marketing team always puts together like quotes, and you just gave the marketing team like 75 slides with what you just said, the two of you. So
because I couldn't figure out one thing to say.
No, that's awesome. Well, we really appreciate both of you. It's so fun to have you here today. We have a great day planned for you. Afternoon. We're going out for dinner tonight. It's going to be fun. Then we'll send you back to LA tomorrow. But we really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure. Once again, if you haven't hit the subscribe button for the WHCC YouTube, make sure and do that so you get notifications. Follow along on Instagram at WHCC Pro. And for all your product details and questions, check out WHCC.com. We hope you've enjoyed this. I certainly have. It's been fun to hang out with you guys in person. And we'll talk to you at the next one. Thank you so much.